Hi, my name is Tracy Leese from Full Life Yoga Studio. And if you want to visit again, you can go to fulllifeyogastudio.com. And there will be more of these short videos on the studio webpage in the next few months. So I am going to do a 20-minute back bend heart opening class that will help us open the spine stretching, spine awareness class. And so the props I'd like you to have for this class are a chair. It doesn't have to be one of these yoga folding chairs. It can be a dining room chair, but I would like it to have a hard seat so that you can actually feel your sit bones. And then a yoga strap if you have one. If not, like a scarf or the belt of a bathrobe would work. And a yoga block if you have one, and a ball. So these balls are called Gertie balls, and you can get them from Small World Toys on Amazon. And these are an amazing prop to have because they can totally deflate. You can take them traveling with you. They can support your back, and you can use them to massage yourself. So let's get started. Okay, take your props back over to your mat, and let's begin sitting on the chair. Okay. So we'll sit. I'll try to be far enough back so you can see my feet. And I want you just to come to a comfortable seat where you're going to have your natural lumbar curve. Now, some of us have more of a curve than others, but I want you to feel your sit bones on the chair. And for me, that means sometimes I lift up my thigh and I take the sit bone actually back at a diagonal and sit back down so that my sit bones are evenly weighted. And I have forecurve structural scoliosis in my spine. So if I don't do that, I end up feeling like there's more weight on my left sit bone. So this is a way for me to balance the pelvic floor. And then I feel between my pubic bone and my tailbone, if I were to rock back and forth, and make sure that my pelvis is upright. It's not rocked back like a bucket pouring water out the back, and it's not rocked way forward like I'm dropping my stomach out. It's upright. And then from there, I want you to run your tongue across the roof of your mouth to the point where hard and soft palates meet. So where it becomes squishy at the back of the hard palate, that would be the start of your soft palate. Right in front of that, imagine a hot air balloon is lifting you from the hard palate, and it's lifting you up like it has a gentle hook in your mouth, and it's stretching your spine long. And let your sit bones rest on the chair as your spine is elongating. And take a deep breath and invite it into your belly. And then exhale and release that breath. And take a deep breath and invite it into your low back. And release that breath. And then take a deep breath and invite it into your side bodies and expand your sides. And release that breath. And then invite the breath up to your lowest rib ring. And imagine the whole circumference of that rib ring expanding in every direction as you inhale, and then relaxing as you exhale. And invite the back body to expand back, and invite the front ribs to expand forward. Invite your ribs to expand at the diagonal. And try to relax your shoulders and neck with each exhale. Then inhale up a little farther to your heart center, into the area across from your heart center between your shoulder blades. And inhale those areas away from each other. And then exhale, let them relax. So inhale, chest away from back. And exhale and relax. And inhale, the ribs open. And exhale and relax. So as you inhale, the ribs may lift like little bucket handles. When they do that, they separate a little bit from the vertebrae that they may get locked in towards, making movement of the spine harder. So we inhale and we take the ribs wide. And we exhale and we relax, and the shoulders rest away towards the pelvis. And the hot air balloon still lifting us skyward. Please breathe at your own pace. Inhaling, you fill. And exhaling, release. And now inhale up to your collarbones and the tops of your shoulder blades. And imagine your chest expanding away from your back body, but don't over effort in the breath. Let the breath fill you and then let it rest away. Let it fill you and rest away, but don't demand it. Don't grasp for it because that causes tightness in the neck and chest. Just let yourself be filled like a balloon being blown up, and then let that air release. In yoga, this brings in vital life force, pranic energy as we inhale. And then we can let stagnant energy go. We can let stress and tension go on the exhales. So one more deep inhale and full exhale. Okay, now pick up your strap and open it up and bring it behind your back and place it right around the back of those low ribs. Okay, open up your arms, palms up, elbows kind of in by your sides, and press your hands into the strap so that the strap comes into your low back ribs, and rest your low back ribs back. And take another inhale and exhale. Meanwhile, the hot air balloon's still lifting you skyward. Your sit bones are still evenly planted. And you inhale, fill the low back ribs. Breathe back into the strap. And exhale, relax. And inhale, fill. And exhale, relax. So I want you to become aware of these low back ribs, because if we let them flare forward, then we over accentuate the junction between the thoracic and lumbar spine, and we can injure our discs. We want the back bend to definitely happen there, but to happen all along the spine. So right now, rest your low back ribs into the strap and breathe up the whole spine and lift your heart center of your sternum and your inner collarbone skyward, keeping the low back ribs back. Lift and open the heart. So a lot of us curl forward over keyboards or over our phones or over our cooking. We forward fold a lot. Now we're countering that. And so we're keeping the low back ribs back so we can stretch open the upper chest. So really breathe space between each vertebrae, but lift your heart center, lift your inner collarbones. So you're lifting long through the head like the hot air balloons blowing behind you. You're lifting your heart and your inner collarbone. Shoulder blades are still on the back. Breath still into the low back ribs. One more deep inhale and full exhale. And then come back up and rest your hands and just feel into your body and how even just that bit can change the sensations in your body. All right, now let's bring the strap up around the base of the neck. Okay, so you're going to bring the strap up along the neck and up under the base of the skull. And you're going to lift the base of the skull away from the shoulders and look down for a moment. Now, don't look all the way down towards your feet, just kind of down and forward, and stretch the base of the skull away from your shoulders and lift up and stretch. And then bring your gaze back up to the horizon, still stretching the back of the neck. Now, the strap is holding your head with the long back of the neck, so it's giving that support. Ground your sit bones and imagine your tailbone reaching down into the earth, and lift your heart center and your inner collarbones. Keep breathing into those low back ribs. Keep them resting back as you open the upper back, and you let your gaze lift, but you keep the back of the neck long and your head rests right on that strap, still getting traction. So the back of the neck is long. You can stay here with the arms with the elbows bent, or you can lengthen the arms out. Keep breathing into those low back ribs. Keep the tailbone reaching towards the floor. And your pubic bone and tailbone are about evenly placed. So you're not coming rolling way back towards the tailbone. Your sit bones are solid and you're breathing length up the spine. One more deep inhale and then exhale back up to sitting. And maybe you're a little bit taller. Take a few breaths, letting the shoulders relax down towards the pelvis. Filling the whole torso with breath and feeling into the body. Okay, so now we're going to pick up our ball, or you could use a bolster, couch cushion, or even a yoga block. And I'm going to turn my chair so you can see it, but you don't necessarily need to turn yours. If you're using a yoga block, you would place it long ways right behind your spine, up at about the height of the low ribs for me, but it may be a little different in your spine. Then you're going to rest back And we're going to open back against the block, broadening across the collarbones, shoulder blades on the back body, hands resting open, palms up, thumbs out, breathing deep into opening the spine and expanding the rib cage, expanding the chest. Or a little softer to have the ball. And the ball has a little give to it, so when you breathe into the low back ribs, you can feel it. We lift up and lengthen the spine. I may roll my ball up a little higher so that it's supportive as my upper back opens. So I keep my front ribs kind of melting into the body as the low back ribs press back into the ball. And I inhale, length up the spine. And then I exhale. I'm going to open my arms like the wings of birds. I'm going to lift my heart center, lift and lengthen the inner collarbones, lengthen the whole spine, breathe space between the vertebrae. And I'm stretching open this front rib cage, taking a few more inhales and exhales, filling from the bottom, the pelvic floor, all the way up through the torso towards the tops of the shoulders and collarbones. Expanding the whole circumference of my abdomen and my rib cage. One more deep inhale, creating space between the vertebrae. And then let's exhale back up to sitting and pause. And let's take a few fluid breaths here. Okay, so you may be starting to feel like, oh, some of these muscles that get used to being tight and forward folded are opening up. So let's do one more of these seated back bends. Hot air balloon lifting you skyward. Sit bones grounding into the seat. Inhale, let the arms open. Length in the spine. Really think of the hot air balloon lifting you and blowing back behind you a little bit. Back of the neck long. We inhale and open. And exhale and rest back, stretching the chest open. Tailbone towards earth. So we don't over bend at the thoracic lumbar junction where the low ribs are. We inhale, we lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. We create space between the vertebrae. We open the upper back. Shoulders rest away from ears, back of the neck long. And then we exhale forward and we rest. And we take a few deep breaths. And we just enjoy the sensation of opening this upper body. Okay. Now let's bring in your yoga block forward and let's open the legs and let's stretch the spine out in a few different ways. Let's inhale, and you can bring your left arm along your femur bone and bring the right arm up and press the palm down towards the knee. Or if you have more mobility, you can come down onto your forearm, palm up. But just make sure you're not crunching vertebrae into vertebrae, especially if you have osteoporosis or penia. Keep a long spine. Keep some space between the vertebrae. We inhale and lengthen, and we exhale and we side bend. And we inhale and lengthen, and exhale and side bend. You could be here, probably better alignment for osteoporosis or penia. Now notice, are you rolling forward towards your pubic bone so much that you're letting your belly flop out? Or are you rolling back, letting your tailbone roll back? Try to bring the pelvis right upright. Take a deep breath into the whole right side body. Breathe the rib cage open. And then exhale back up. And inhale, lift the other arm. Shoulders rest away from ears. They're not up here. And we stretch long and we bring the left arm over the right shoulder. This might be good alignment with osteoporosis or penia. Or we exhale and we come farther over. We ground the left sit bone towards the chair as we stretch the left arm away. We may look skyward and stretch, or we may look earthward and stretch, and we may find more of the stretch for our body depending on where we're tightest. And then we breathe into that place. And we exhale and we relax and let the sit bone relax towards the chair. And we inhale and expand and exhale and relax. And then we inhale back upright and we pause. We may walk the legs in a little bit. Let your head rest back. Let the neck crease or the hyoid bone rest in. Feel the spaciousness you're creating in your upper body. And then inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, begin to fold forward. Now, some of you may not be able to fold forward with a long, natural spine far without starting to curl like this, which is practicing the opposite of what we want. So whatever you do, try to keep a long spine. and try to hinge from the hip, then you're actually getting a hip opener and you're not injuring the spine. So keep the spine long and fold forward, keep the spine long. So some of you may stay with your arms on your legs. Some may be able to walk your knees in and come down elbows to femur bones. Some may be able to reach down to a block. And I'm still lengthening my spine. Some of you may be able to fold forward and bring your fingertips forward, still with a long spine, not hunching towards the ground. Getting to the ground is not the goal. Keeping length in the spine and opening the hips is the goal. So don't come so far forward that your knees start to follow your torso in. Keep the knees open. Take a deep breath. Fill the whole circumference of your torso. Breathe space between the ribs, space between the vertebrae, and then walk back in, and then unwind back up, and bring your legs in and pause. Fluid breath. And then let's turn to the right and inhale our hands to our hearts. And exhale, relax. And inhale, the hot air balloon lengthens the spine. And then exhale, slowly begin to twist to the left. Let the left arm open back behind you, but not so far you throw the head of the arm bone forward. Bring the right arm, hand, palm up against the thigh. And inhale, breathe into the body. And exhale. Your head turns last, so we begin the twist at the base of the spine. And then we look out the left corners of the eyes, and we take a few more fluid breaths, inviting the breath to massage the spine open. One more deep inhale and full exhale. And then inhale and unwind, hands to the heart. And let's take our twist to the other side. Feel your four corners of your feet on the floor and have the intention of keeping the lower body pretty stable. Now, again, with osteoporosis or penia, we don't necessarily go to the end range of a twist. We create space between the vertebrae. We don't want to create compression. And we exhale and we begin at the base of the spine and we twist. And it may be a gentle twist or it may be more of a twist depending on your body. And then bring the left hand over the right femur bone, palm out. And bring the right arm open and stretch across the collarbones. Let your head be the last to turn and look out the right corners of your eyes and take a few fluid breaths. Can you keep your feet evenly grounding? Can you feel where the breath stretches the body open? Can you invite the breath to help you open the body? And one more deep inhale. And full exhale and come back around. And then let yourself turn back towards the screen and rest. Good. Okay. Let's come down to the floor for our final back bend of this class today, off the chair. So we'll come down to the floor with your ball, or you can bring in a little blanket roll. So you could bring in a blanket like this. And if you are pretty tight in your thoracic spine, you may only roll it just a slight bit. So I'll show that first. And some of you may actually want to bring in a pillow for under your head. So I might bring in another blanket. And depending on how high the roll is and how high your head is, feels like it's comfortably off the floor, you'll use the blanket to support it. So I'll go over that. So you'd bring your shoulders right onto the blanket roll. And again, you traction from the base of your skull like you did with the strap and bring your head over the blanket roll and maybe onto a pillow. What you want is to be able to keep the back of your neck long, even though as you come over the blanket roll, the tips of your shoulder blades at the bottom are higher than the tops of your shoulders. And then you can either open your arms out into a T right over the roll and rest here, or you can inhale the arms up overhead, and you may want to put something under your wrists, like a couch pillow or something, and rest your hands there. Or you open your arms out into a T. So that's one option. The other option is to have this fabulous children's ball. And again, you may want to use a pillow. And you can bring the children's ball in under your back and roll a little up and down on the ball. And then traction the base of your skull. Bring your spine over the ball and down to your pillow. Again, we don't want to let the head just go and the chin way over, shortening the back of the neck, because part of what we want to do is lengthen the back of the neck. So make your pillow whatever height you might need to keep the back of the neck long. And you can either take your arms overhead again, or you can bring your arms open into a T again. Now, if the head of your arm bone is popping up really high and it's hurting the front of your rotator cuff, then you would bring another blanket or a pillow under your arm. So let me show you that. You would bring something to support your arm so that it isn't quite as high. And that way you give your thoracic spine and your chest support and opening without hurting the shoulder. And then you let yourself rest and take a few fluid breaths, deep. And let the breath help you massage the muscles and the fascia, which is this layer of tissue that interconnects through the whole body. It wraps around bones and organs and muscles. And we can breathe and massage it open. So we take deep inhales and full exhales. You can inhale through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. Or if you feel like you really need to move some tension out of the body, you can inhale through the nostrils and exhale through the mouth. Exhaling through pursed lips, like you're pressing energy that you want to let go out of the body. So if your arms are open into a T and you want to try the other arm position, you can bring them open. The wrists don't even have to come all the way to the floor. You can just pause here for a second, feeling the stretch. Stretching from your hips through your fingertips. And if that doesn't feel good in your arms, you can come back to the T. Breathing yourself open. Make sure that it doesn't feel uncomfortable anywhere in your spine and that the blanket roll is low enough. So again, with osteoporosis and penia, we don't want to lift so high that we press the back of vertebrae together and cause microfracturing. We want to just find enough lift to help us open the muscles of the chest. Can you relax the eyes, the jaw, the face? And then we reach back in behind the head and we lift up and we come up to sitting. And we take the ball out and we lay ourselves down, perhaps bringing a pillow in, perhaps covering ourselves with a blanket if we're chilly, and we release into Shavasana. If it's hard to lay with the legs long, then you can bring a blanket roll or a bolster under your knees to support them as you lay back. And don't underestimate the importance of Shavasana. Even in just a 20-minute practice, let yourself have a few minutes of laying here and seeing how much you can relax the body into the hug of gravity. It's in this relaxation pose where we see where we hold tension habitually, and we need to let that tension go in order to strengthen muscles in balance. So let yourself relax and breathe. If thoughts come, see if you can let them go like leaves passing downstream. Can you breathe life force into the body and into the heart that you worked on opening in this class? And you can stay in Shavasana as long as you would like, knowing that even just 4 minutes can help you reset your nervous system for a better day. All right. It was close. 22 minutes. All right. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.